this isn't PPC's first rodeo. You've been around for 130 years, and you have weathered many storms. We can think of over 130 years, world wars, Great Depressions, sanctions, a siege economy, and you've had some fantastic tailwinds at times. Huge infrastructure spend in post-World War II as part of South Africa's industrialization. More recently, the early years of the ANC government. But things have changed, and we are back at the rodeo. So you find yourself in incredibly tough times. What are the biggest challenges you find in this environment, and what are you doing about it?
Thanks, Adrian. I think all that you said about the positive things about PPC, maybe that's the reason why we're still standing, because actually if you look at the facts, we shouldn't be standing as an industry. Elsie mentioned the decline in terms of the demand and all that. But if you look at it, we often, when we talk about imports, we are told that we are too expensive, we are not competitive, we are not innovative. But show me one industry where it has been facing such a decline for so many years and still be able to survive. The pricing of cement in South Africa is actually going back to close to what we were paying in 2008. And the only way in which you can be able to survive that period without actually meeting the inflationary pressures is by being innovative in the way you do things. So we actually have survived and put in a lot of effort in making sure that we maintain the industry. But the challenges are big. Obviously, the capacity or the demand is very low, affected by lack of infrastructure. Now, just to give you an idea, South Africa still imports about 10% of its cement demand. Basically, if you were to stop imports tomorrow, you would increase that demand by 10%. And that will go a long way in terms of sustaining our industry. And as was mentioned earlier,
How do I know you're going to be competitive if I stop imports?
The fact of the matter is, as I said, we were able to survive. It's a capital-intensive industry, and we were able to survive in a situation where you've got a lot of inflationary pressure in terms of your input cost, and we are still able to maintain a product, maintain the operations that we do. There is a lot of threats that are facing the industry. Bryan mentioned the carbon tax.
Yeah.
Carbon tax, if we bring it to layman terms, 120 or so of what you pay for a bag of cement does not come to PPC.
So how much does this bag of cement cost?
This is a sure Sam, it's about 80 rand.
And how much goes to the carbon tax?
About 120 goes to tax.
And is that enough to differentiate between the import and the local?
No, exactly. If you look at our coastal business, before we actually sell a bag of cement in a year, 28 million rands is going to carbon tax. And what is more scary is what we are proposing. And we are not against the carbon tax. We're not against the fact that we are in a competitive environment. All that we are saying is level the
playing field.
And when you look at the proposals in terms of the graduation of the carbon tax, basically, if we were to implement what Treasury is proposing with regards to carbon tax, then you can already start packing the bags and shut the cement industry.
So let's say none of this works out, that all of the appeals and the requests and the proposals that you've made in terms of policy design and implementation fall on deaf ears. Let's say nothing happens. What are you doing about it?
Well, we've looked at various ways.
Beyond lobbying.
Yeah, we've looked at various ways of reducing our costs. And as I say, we look at power. We can't substitute the total amount of power that we require. We can maybe go up to 30% of what we get from the grid. we still need power. We're looking at the green cement in terms of extending our product with various better extenders, which are cheaper, not carbon intensive, to reduce that impact of carbon tax into our products. One of the biggest part of our cost is energy, both thermal and electrical. On the thermal energy side, we're doing a lot in terms of waste to energy, trying to create an opportunity for ourselves to have energy generated from waste rather than energy that is mainline. Elsie mentioned something earlier about money that is being sent back into Treasury after the year. On Friday last week, I was in Cape Town with the Minister of Public Works, and he mentioned some staggering numbers. 68 billion rands, I think, since the pandemic, and about 368 projects have been stopped. 68 billion rands lost to construction mafias. Now, that is an own goal scored by South Africa in terms of crime that Cass was referring to. So those are some of the things that are not in our control, but if that was taken out of the way, it would have at least a positive impact. Because yes, you need the volume, you need to keep the capacity in. We've spent money in the business. 2018, we spent about 1.8 billion rands in our Mafeking plant, just innovating and upgrading our equipment to be able to do all these wonderful things about waste to energy and all of that. But to support you, you need pipeline, and that pipeline is not coming forth.